The earthly remains of Charles Lambert, or Voss, or Fabry, or Marino, lay in the chapel of Pere Lachaise Cemetery under the garish cupola of blue and gold mosaics arranged to form stars and other heavenly forms in a peaceful night sky. His widow, tired and confused, sat in the first row of the chairs with her only friend Sylvie to comfort her. 16 rows behind them, silent and drowsy, sat Inspector Edouard Grandpierre. Regina had been touched by the sight of him. She knew well enough why he had come, but there was something almost pitiable about the deliberate way he had chosen his chair, the farthest from the bier. He seemed to be apologizing for an intrusion he couldn't help, and for his dry eyes, which he could help even less. Regina thought about all the times he had knotted the black tie and sought out the distant chair, and all the times he would do so in the future, and how unwelcome he had been and would be. She wanted to cry for him, but she didn't. She hadn't yet cried for Charles, and she was ashamed that she apparently felt more for this stranger than she did for her dead husband. Closing her eyes tightly and recalling happier moments with Charles, she tried to cry for him, but she couldn't, and she felt all the worse for it. She took Sylvie's hand and squeezed it. Sylvie winced as her wedding band had pressed painfully against her little finger by Regina's grip, but she preferred to endure it rather than call attention to the object that was causing her discomfort. Only 4 days before, they had been lying in the sun, and now what an eerie place, Sylvie thought. Dim light, the result of electrified candles and their imitation flames, the sweet, cloying smell of flowers, leagued with incense, the discreet, almost timorous sound of organ music, coming from God knew where. If only there had been someone else there, she thought, someone besides Poulet, in the back row. She turned to look at the distant chapel, so much larger because it was empty. When she saw that Grandpierre was returning her gaze, she quietly turned back to Regina. That's the nice part about being murdered, Sylvie thought. You can always count on at least one person to show up to the funeral. Didn't Charles have any friends? Sylvie asked aloud. Regina shrugged. Maybe they haven't heard yet. They could have been blind. It was all the newspapers, with pictures of Charles and Reggie? What? Have you found out anything yet? She whispered. About what? Why he tried to leave. Regina shook her head. Nothing for sure, but it's obvious, isn't it? No. He was leaving me. I was so busy trying to make up my own mind, I didn't see what was going on. What was going on? I don't know. I told you I didn't see it. Oh. Sylvie thought about this for a moment. Then who killed him? She asked, beginning to whisper. Not so loud, Regina cautioned, sneaking a backward look at Grandpierre. Then who killed him? Sylvie asked again, this time in a whisper. She did. Who? Sylvie didn't understand at all. The woman he was running away with, Regina explained patiently. Don't you see? She was only after his money. She waited until they were on the train, and he was asleep, and then she knocked him out, or something, and threw him off. That even explains why he was in his pajamas. I see. Sylvie was quiet for a while. It is not impossible, she said finally. Have you told the police? Not yet. What are you waiting for? It must have occurred to them too. After all, they've had a lot of experience with these things, haven't they? Besides, it's not so easy to admit your husband was running out on you. Then she remembered how simple it had been telling Grandpierre of her decision to leave Charles. You're right, though. I'll tell Inspector Grandpierre about it when we're outside. He came to see me last night, Sylvie confessed. Who? Grandpierre. He wanted to know if you could have left Trouville during the night Charles was killed. Regina thought for a moment. He can't be doing very well if he suspects me. I told you you were at the casino in Deauville all the evening. When I think of the money I threw away at roulette that night, I could shoot myself. It didn't seem like so much at the time, Regina said, amazed to discover it had only been a few days before. I sure could use it now.